In the last video, what we looked at was the extraction of the file that we had from our source into our destination, and it used these bits of code here, where it move zip method and extract method. That could have been called copy zip method. I didn't know what to call it in fact at the time, but that's what's happening here. So we saw that happening now. So what we're going to do now is rename them. Now my rename class is not a static class, so I have to create an object of the class that we can work with before we can use it. So I deliberately did this to show you how that's done. So rename equals new rename. My small class object is called rename with a small r, conventionally called that as an object. And then I'm going to call one of the methods in there, rename all. And that rename all needs the destination folder and the task prefix that we gathered from the form to work with. So let's look inside that class. So this class is very much more complicated than the extract class, and I don't intend to give a step-by-step, blow-by-blow instruction set inside here, because it would just take too long. You're going to have the file to read so you can follow it through. Now this main method rename all here depends on several sort of utility methods which are existing down here in the lower part of the code file. So we've got a find the end of the file method, or the end of the path method, sorry. We've got the directory name minus its path, so we can just get the name of the directory. We've got the new folder name, which we're going to construct from the data that we've got. And that's the most complicated one. And it uses all these steps to take the stuff from the file name and give it the prefix that we need and the name of the student in surname, comma, forename format. So as I say, I don't intend to go through all of these step by step. I've added comments, which I think could give you an understanding of what each part of the code does. I've used the download number, which you remember is in there. I've extracted that and I've never used it, but I could use it. I could make a file name up if we maybe lead with that number if you wanted to mark them in the order of which they were downloaded. I think that's how that download number works within Moodle, but I never used it, but it's there if we decided to change what we do. So we've got these utility methods, and let's just look at what happens with the main method rename all. Now rename all has some methods, some variables which are used for tracking stuff as it happens. I've used these as debugs, which is just for me to track how many files did it change. I never use them in production, never shows the user that, but you could track them out to the user. One of them is wrong, the I method doesn't return the right value, but that's okay. It gave me some useful information while I was doing debug. We need to know the extension of the file that's being used. Is it docx? So we need to know is it xls and so forth, so that we can sustain that as we change the file and make it into a new name. So we get the name of the directory and we get directory info. Now directory info is a class that gives us information about what this directory contains, and we're going to go through it recursively and just check that we can do the things we need to do with each of the files. So I've put that method that we're going to carry out inside a try catch so that we can catch any errors and reveal what's gone wrong if it goes wrong. So you'll see that for each directory info subdirectory, I've called it, in the D, in the directories we got before, we can now get all the stuff we need and change it. As I say, I'm not going to go through this line by line, but it's calling the methods that are listed in the utility down below and then moving it once we know what we need. So the new name we get and then move it. So we do construction of the names for folders and files, and this is mostly to do with the files. So we get the name of the file and change it to suit what we need. Give it the suffix 01, 02, 03, which is where we get maybe a student has submitted 5 files for their work in task 04. They would be named 01, 02, 03, 04. The file extension would be preserved so that you can recognize which is the spreadsheet, the Word document, and so forth. So there's no sense of time involved. the order in which they should be uploaded or whatever, or a sequence that's required in order to mark them. But that's for you to work out. So what we need to do is we make sure that we copy the full name, combining the directory and the string and the file number and the extension, so that we get those files that you saw, the Word documents that you saw in the extracted set, which exist as separate items to the originals. The original name is preserved, but we've now got this new name that gives us a way in which we can group the students' work together in a single place. So that's kind of it. Now the utility class, which is going to be here, doesn't work. Don't know why it doesn't work. It worked in a previous version that I did in the Windows Forms one. So what this is supposed to do is to open up an Explorer, explorer.exe.instance, which it does, but it doesn't take me to the right folder yet. I will work on that. You can work on it. Somebody can work on it. I don't care. And so when we do that, this should take us to the where is it? Mainwindow.cs. So mainwindow.cs. So we've done the rename, and it should now open up the Explorer in that folder, but it doesn't. But it's easy enough to navigate, and you've seen that happen. So you can see that the extraction has happened exactly as planned. So let me just reiterate. Moodle is brilliant, getting better all the time. But the bulk download system that it has gives me a zip folder with folders inside it that don't represent my workflow. They don't give me the file names that we need. I want to see work as surname, forename, a task, and then a file extension. I want to be able to see that so that we can get the work from each student grouped together usefully. So we get the zip and we copy it into the destination folder. We manipulate it and extract the folders and extract the files as we need them to be named. So that's the little application. I'd say you're going to get full source code linked in the description below, and I hope it's useful to you.